and welcome back everyone to Master Game Design, Unreal Engine 5, Stylized Environment and Third-Person Blueprint course. In the last lesson we left ourselves off with a nicely stylized type of a skybox, and now we're going to continue on and actually start modeling out and setting ourselves up with the scene. So for us to do that, we'll firstly go to the levels and check out whether or not they're locked. I'm just going to go ahead right away and lock out the gray box itself, so we wouldn't be able to select it. And we don't really need the persistent level itself, so I'm just going to lock that out as well. And I'm just going to double click on the Harbour item, so we'd be able to make use out of all of these nice things over here. All right, so as a starting point, what we can do is we're going to learn how to make use out of the objects already provided, the setup, so we'd be able to somewhat speed up the workflow with using them. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to select one of the objects over here within this Harbour area. I'm going to go onto the 4 windows like so, and I'm going to click F on this section over here. So we're going to be able to actually see which section this is, and we can just go ahead and cross it all the way across like so. And what I like to do every once in a while, just to make sure that we have just that selection, is I can go back onto the perspective view on the bottom left hand corner, click F, and just see where the focus would go. And this way I know that nothing else in regards to the skybox or anything of the sort is selected. All right, so now that we have it like so, we can go ahead and just simply move this across. But actually, I'd prefer to just keep all of these items as is in case we need to make use out of them again. So what I tend to do is just simply I hold Alt and I just move it across like so. And this way we have our entire section duplicated just like that. The next thing that we need to consider is going to be the grid itself. I'm going to go back onto the perspective view just to have a larger window. So yeah, the next thing that we need to consider is going to be the grid itself. We have ourselves at the very top snapping grid, so we're going to change this from 5 to 10. That's going to give us a nicer type of snapping motion, just like that. And then afterwards, I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of realign the overall section, maybe something like so, like this. And for now, I'm going to go ahead and leave it like so. Going to need to move all the ships out of the way, and we're going to also talk a bit in regards to this Harbour setup, since as you can see over here, if we have a look at this Harbour over here, it might not seem much, but there is a certain elevation over here. So it goes straight, then it goes up higher by level, and then continues going up straight, and then again goes up higher by level. So the reason for this is going to be mainly for the visual perspective, for the aesthetic from a distance, from this angle, which if we were to click 1, which we already saved out using Control and 1, this kind of a view, we're going to see it actually helps to kind of follow along the grid, giving us a way nicer kind of a silhouette, the shape overall, instead of just having it looking flat for the for this Harbour. And yeah, we're just going to make ourselves make use out of that and set ourselves up with that kind of a similar look. I'm going to move all of this these boats out of the way first, going to select all of them, holding Shift, moving them out of the way, and we're going to start off with this entire Harbour section. I'm just going to go ahead and select all of these parts just like that. I think that's going to be quite all right. I'm going to select the sign as well, might as well. I'm just going to bring it all the way up to the side just like that, and it's actually looking already quite nice. We have ourselves the Harbour set up for this section. We just now need to think on how we are going to extend this entire part in regards to this section over here. I'm going to grab these rest from the side, and I might actually, yeah, what I will do is real quick, I'm just going to go to the top view, going to click F, and I'm just going to make sure I select all of them like so, and then just move it off to the side for now, so we can come back to them later. So this section already, you can see it has this sort of a layout. So basically, as you can see, we have 2 type of platforms. We have one platform with these hanging on the side, and the other one is going to be the plain one. So this is going to be alternating within the gray box itself, and we're going to make sure we make use out of that. All right, so to make use out of it, we will actually go ahead and grab all of these platforms over here and the sign itself, and I'm just going to lower it. I think I'm going to lower it down have to be perfect. We're just using this as like a sort of a template. So there you go. We're now going to move this all the way to the back, and I would prefer to keep this nicely set up within regards to this. So these poles are actually sticking out at the second one from the end, so I'm just going to go ahead and move them to the side and put them this one over at the end, so we'll have a nice transition as the way it's placed basically. So yeah, for us to do that, we're just going to hold Alt. We're going to move this to the side. This way we're going to be duplicating it, and because we're using a grid, this is actually quite nicely set up in regards to the dimensions. Because we're using a grid, it's going to just simply snap to this section, and it should be quite all right. We might need to just move it a little bit back, or I think that's going to be quite all right. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is just simply grab these two on the side over here, hold Alt, and then start duplicating it basically. So we duplicate it once, we duplicate it twice, and we're going to actually, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and delete this one. We're going to duplicate it again, like so. And this is looking quite nice. Just worried a little bit in regards to this type of a setup. Just wondering what's going on over here. I might need to lower it down a little bit actually. Going to check the location of the height. I think for now though, I'm going to keep it as is and see if it works out in a bit. I'm going to actually go ahead and delete this couple, and just going to grab this and add it up to the side like so. And then we're going to go ahead and select these and just bring it inwards like so, and there you go. It's actually a perfect fit, so that's very nice. Let's go ahead and see how it looks like without the gray box. I'm going to real quick hide all the Harbour items. Going to go on to the persistent level, going to unlock it. And now what we can do is just simply we can go ahead and select not persistent level. We're going to unlock the gray box itself. So let's go ahead and unlock it. Then we can just simply select all of these small parts just like that, like so. And we can see how this would look like. We can go ahead and select it, click H, and then we hide it out of the way. We can now re-enable this, and there you go. We pretty much replaced it quite nicely. One more thing that we might consider is going to be parts underneath. As you can see, it's actually floating as a stone. That might not be quite the best type of setup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these. I'm going to hold Alt, going to drag it out like so, and I'm just going to lower it down until we touch the base, basically, like so. And another thing that we can do is, because it's actually going to be very equal, very straight, we can make use out of these couple of extra blocks to break up a little bit the overall type of a harbor. So we're just going to have a nicer foundation. So I'm going to click R, go to the scaling, and I'm just going to move it outwards a little bit like so. And yeah, that's actually quite all right overall. That is looking quite nice. Going to hold Alt, going to move it to the side, and just continue on doing that. Or actually, yeah, I'm going to continue on doing that. I was thinking if we can speed up this process, but it would be just faster to just drag it outwards like so until we reach. I'm going to click Ctrl Z because I see there was a bit of a gap over here. Yep, there still is a gap. There you go. All right. And yeah, let's just make sure we connect them nicely. And now in this case, this overall section might be a little bit too far off. I'm going to go ahead and lock the gray box again. And this time I'm going to go on to the side view. So the right view over here, I'm going to click F to kind of zoom in. And I'm just going to select all of these panels just like that. So we're going to select this entire section, going to click W, and I'm just going to drag it inwards just like that. And there we go. We got ourselves a very nice type of a setup over here. And actually, speaking of which, we're going to click R. We might need to consider a different type of scaling. So I'm going to go on to scale snapping, and change this to a value of 0.1 or 0.12. Actually, I'm going to change it to 0.0625, since that will give us much better control overall. And there we go. We got ourselves a very nice type of a setup. And the rest is going inwards. I know that it's going inwards, so I'm not going to be worried too much in regards to that. I'm going to bring this upwards like so. Put the sign a little bit downwards, just like that. And there we go. We got ourselves an entrance. We can click play. We can see how this looks like. And this seems to be giving me, for some reason, seems to be dropping me off outside. So I'm just trying to figure out why that is the case. And I actually totally forgot one thing. And the thing is, when I press play, we're not going to see the level. The reason being is that by default, it's actually controlled by the blueprint itself. We'd have to enable, disable it. It's meant for optimization, but we can make it so it would always load within our scene. And the way for us to do that is if we were to right click on the level itself, on the Harbour items, we can go change streaming method to always loaded. So by doing that, we're going to get ourselves a level that's always going to be loaded. We can now click play and we can see how that's going to look like. So there is that. I don't really want to change the gray box at this point personally. So I'm going to keep it as is. But in case you do want to change it and it's highlighted off a little bit for that, you need to basically go ahead and unlock the level first. And then you need to basically just do the same thing as you did previously, always loaded. So that's how it's going to be. And yeah, this persistent level by default is always going to be loaded since that's the main level itself. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and lock the gray box and hit play and see how this would look like. And yeah, just walking around, looking pretty good overall. I think this is looking quite nice as a starting point. So there we go. All right, so the next thing is going to be just continuing on with the Harbour. So we're going to continue on with this in the next lesson. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be seeing